Yes, good win for our guys. Credit to Miami. I thought they really fought as I expected them to do. One of Travis's teams. It's a tough, he's got a tough, hard-nosed group, bunch of really good, young, talented players that are going to be really good. It's a well-coached group. So good luck to them on a great season. Yeah, there's some good things, some things we got to work on. Moving on. Questions.
Moving on, how important, or what was your level of concern? You talked about this the other day, but like playing this game midweek between Big Ten games, how did you feel your team handled that preparation? Good.
Yeah, pretty good. I thought they had a readiness to play. I did think we looked a little fatigued. A couple guys looked a little fatigued, and I was cognizant of that, Adam. But overall, I thought we had a good readiness to play. I thought we knew this was a group that, was coming off beating Marshall and, that was capable. So, I didn't really have any complaints with that. And I'm not sure our effort was always right where it needed, or maybe our focus and our concentration, but it was for good parts of the game.
And I know you were worried about their three-point shooting, and I know they shoot well. They shot a high percentage, but not nearly as many as they normally do. Yeah. Were you able to take away some of their looks? That
was one of the keys. They were shooting about 44.5 or about 45% of their shots. Field goal attempts were threes. That was the number one team we had played. That was more than Alabama. And then their effective field goal percentage was one of the best things they do. Is one of the best that of anybody we had played. So those numbers combined certainly will put a scare into you as a coach. So we had to make sure we had a game plan that was ready to take away. And there's a lot that goes into that in terms of your ball screen defense and your how you're playing things. But and we got spread out a little bit and got back a little bit, but I thought we were able to take away clean looks and more than anything, eliminate the volume of threes.
Chris, in the first half, it looked like you had a bench-heavy lineup in there. I think 4 guys. Dale, I think Scotty, Devin, and Zed were all in there with Roddy. What do you like from that group and just this bench in general? You talked about the depth of this team. What is special about this bench right now?
I thought our bench was good tonight. I did. I thought our bench was really good. I thought Devin continues to grow. It's what young players have to do. They have to grow in the minutes that are given to them, and they've got to grow in practice. And I think Devin's gotten a little bit better in practice. I can't emphasize that enough. Guys think they've got to, guys say, guys don't say it, but you hear this all the time. Well, that kid's a gamer. Well, I'd like to see him be a gamer in practice first. And Devin has done that. And to his credit, I think as a byproduct of that is he's gotten better, and he's produced in games. Now, he's got to foul less. His technique has to get better, normal freshman stuff. But I thought he was good. I thought Scotty was good. I thought Zed's 6 offensive rebounds were tremendous. Really good effort on the glass there in the first half. And Dale continues to give us good pop there.
Yeah, and then the offensive glass, you just mentioned it. I mean, first half wasn't perfect, but the offensive glass carried you guys, I felt like. How much of that was an emphasis coming into tonight, and what do you see from it? Yeah,
their defensive rebounding percentage is not good, so we felt like that was an area we could attack them. They did not have a good defensive rebounding percentage number, so we did emphasize that. But more than anything, it's hard to emphasize that going into a game. I think that's got to be a part of what you do. Our numbers this year are better than what they've been in past years. We continue to emphasize it. It's what we need to do.
I know Evan gives you a lot that doesn't show up stat-wise, but tonight probably his best statistical all-around game. What did you like from him, and is that important before he goes on the road to play his former team?
Yeah, no, I think, there'll certainly be some emotion with that, but I just think with Evan, he's just got to keep growing in some areas. It's good to see him finish a couple plays, like you said. I think for him, just to see him make a couple shots, and then but you can't tie himself to that because, the group he's in typically with has 3 or 4 scorers on the floor. He needs to be able to play off those guys, and his effort needs to be a constant. But I know for him, for any kid, to see a couple go down is important.
Are you used to, I know it hasn't happened a ton yet, but in college basketball in general, guys playing former teams, just had to happen with Jamison. It's still a relatively new concept, but it does seem to be
Jamari.
Yeah,
we had it with Jamari. No, it's a relatively new concept within the last 5 years. I think in college football, college basketball, college sports in general, it's a relatively new concept. But it's going to get not very new real quick because you're just going to continue to see it.
Chris, talking a little about some of the transfers and some of the other guys you brought in, you talked a little about Dale Bonner, and something that really kind of fits the Baylor guard archetype is like a very good 3-and-D guard. Is this a Dale you wanted to bring in when you recruited him? Yeah,
I think he's played well, really outside of the first maybe 2 games where he just didn't look, as comfortable. I think he's really given us good minutes. He's a capable shooter, and he's got burst and quickness. He allows us to play Bruce off the ball. He's playing more minutes than he's ever played, but the minutes that we envisioned for him, we just felt like it was going to be a very important add to add another. There was a lot of conversations that went into deciding if we were going to add another guard and to what level guard were we going to add. We were going to add 2 guards. A lot of conversations there in the spring, and we're glad we settled in on Dale.
Yeah, just one more follow-up about Dale. When you have such a young core, and I know in the offseason, at the beginning of the offseason, you talked a lot about building the team around your sophomores like Roddy and Bruce. When you bring in a guy like Dale, he's a veteran.
Yeah.
How has he helped the backcourt? Develop?
I think he's just his maturity. His overall, him and Jamison, their overall maturity, seeing things, understanding the way college basketball works. And he's a great kid from a great family.
And one more question for you. What was the game plan coming into this game trying to stop Hunter, and how do you think it was executed?
Well, he's a really good player. And he demands a lot of attention because he's a do-both guy and can really shoot it. So I think we just want to have great team awareness of him and make it very difficult and eliminate his clean looks.
Sometimes guys that shoot more threes than twos get kind of put into a box as like they're just a three-point shooter, and Jamison might be one of those guys to most people. And tonight, I think his first 6 shots all came inside the arc. How is he doing with just scoring in a range of ways so that teams can't sell out on him to just shoot threes like he did tonight?
Yeah, I think his his ability to score has been just that. I've never seen him as just a shooter. I think he's got the ability to score. He can put it on the floor some. He can shoot floaters. He can shoot mid-range. But obviously, we want him to shoot 4 to 6 threes a game. I think the biggest thing for him has just been challenging the total game, all the aspects of the game, him growing in, and I think he's embraced that.
Do you think he's getting more comfortable, like taking those shots? Maybe in the beginning of the year, he didn't want to walk into a new locker room and just start taking shots as the new guy, but you think
sure
he's taking the shots now you want him to take?
Yeah, I think that, and it may have just been just a general comfort level, like him understanding where his shots were going to come from within the framework of the offense. It just naturally takes time. Maybe he didn't want to quote unquote step on any toes, but I think it was also just a comfort thing.
Coach, you started a 9-2 run with about 5 minutes left in the first half and then finished the half with that Roddy layup. How important is it for this team to be able to finish and close out half strong?
Yeah, we've been inconsistent with that this year. So it's really important. It gives you momentum, and it makes me not want to yell at them at the start of the half, start of halftime, which is always nice. You always want to go in as a happy coach. We've been inconsistent with it, both in our defensive execution, our offensive execution. But tonight, it was good. We got an offensive rebound, and we're able to kind of get a last shot.
We spoke to you earlier in the week about Evan's shot selection, and you said it was pretty good, but he had forced a couple walled-up ones. How did you evaluate him maybe forcing less of those shots in preparation for this game, and then in this game, because he was 4 for 7 from the floor tonight?
Yeah, I need to look at it. There might have been one. It's just he's not strong enough right now if he goes against a 6'7", 6'8" kid, and he's being bodied up right now. He really needs to be able to use his quickness and length to get an angle score versus a walled-up finish. So that's what I meant on that. But I think overall he was pretty good with it. I'd have to look at the film.
Did you like to see him hit that open three as well toward the end? Because I know that's something you've been looking for.
He's working on it. Time and space threes. Not going to be a big part of what he does, but we want him to take them because I think he's capable of making them. And you got to remember, Evan's a part of that sophomore class, so he's a young kid who's just going to be getting better. And I would assume next year we'll have him. He'll be taking more threes.
Last guy, Patrick.
Yeah.
Yeah, it looked like it was getting maybe a little chippy, like in the middle of the second quarter or second half. Like, how do you think your guys, like handled that as a team? And then maybe did you like say anything to them during the timeout? I know there was a couple technicals.
Yeah, I just told them to, keep their head about them, really. I mean, I think, listen, I think there's a reason why coaches have not played a ton of Ohio schools. Ohio schools, they play with a different way about them when they come in here. So, I was reminded of that before we played them, that there wasn't a ton of Ohio schools that seemingly played here, that we had play here in previous, before we were here. So I think there's always an energy in those games that's just different, and we respect it, and we knew it was going to be a competitive game.
We've asked you a lot about Evan's offense, but he had a stretch where he had a block and forced a jump ball and had to push the ball up court and had the assist. When a guy is doing all of those things kind of in sequence, how does that impact a team's overall, I guess, vibe and just allow you to put something together? Yeah,
he's such a good athlete, Adam, and he's got really good defensive instincts, and he's got a really good defensive IQ. He has to get better in his ball screen defense. And I think in general, his details and his consistent effort can get better. But he's got great length. He's a really good athlete. He sees things quickly, Adam, and has the ability to make plays defensively.
And because you mentioned like fatigue, Roddy was riding a bike for a while. He was the last one out of the locker room.
Yeah.
Was he under the weather?
No. No, they had a kid actually sick. Their starting point guard was sick. But no, Roddy, he just has, I think, lower system ankle that bothers him at times. He just likes to keep it loose. So, those guys, I mean, I just screamed his name like 5 times. I didn't know where he was, but he was on the bike, yeah. He's fine. Any other questions? As far as Penn State, am I not going to...
You want to talk to Crowder, or you want to...
Not really.
Okay.
Okay. So let me just get a couple things on Penn State. I think they were just finishing with Maryland right now at Maryland. I don't know if you guys... Okay. In overtime, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So, obviously you guys that have followed us for years know that's always a very difficult place to play. I think they have a really good team that is, full of transfers from VCU. The player of the year came over. Our focus really was on this one, so I haven't watched him a lot, but we're going to dive into him tonight and tomorrow. And, I think it's one of these road contests. I'm anxious to see how our guys play in a real true road environment, which we haven't done since, Dayton, and that wasn't really a true road environment because it was an exhibition game. So I'm anxious to see how our guys go and play there. We know that Penn State will be ready, and we need to be ready.
Do you have any familiarity with the roads? With Mike?
No, I never coached against one of Mike's teams, not in the NCAA tournament or in any other exempt event or anything.
What do you know about Baldwin? And like you said, I mean, he's
terrific player.
Tough, yeah.
Terrific two-way player. Phenomenal. But Clary's a terrific player, too. That was with them last year. They've got a transfer from North Carolina who's played really well in the games that I've seen, Johnson.
Yeah, Puff, right?
Yeah, we recruited him. They've got really, I'm sure like any group, he's still piecing it all together, but they've got a really good group. We'll need to be ready. All right, thank you guys. Appreciate it. Yep.